Our second special right triangle is what we call the 30, 60, 90. Now, I'm just going to kind of show this to you. You don't have to write it down. I kind of want to show you where we get that 30, 60, 90 triangle. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw an equilateral triangle. Okay? We know that equilateral triangles, all the sides congruent and all the side angles are 60s. Right? Okay. So here's what happens. If we drop an altitude from the top down to the base there, we end up forming two right triangles. See them? Now, when we dropped that altitude, we bisected that top angle, so now that angle is 30. So here's your 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now the reason I wanted to show that to you is so you can see at least one of those ratios happening. When we dropped the altitude, we split that base, right? Whenever we drop the altitudes, we always are splitting that side opposite. It bisected and now gave us two congruent segments. So what does that mean? So this is one of your legs, right? Now over here you have your hypotenuse. Do you see what's always going to happen? If I took this and I split it in half, what's the relationship going to be between this little leg here and the hypotenuse? The hypotenuse is always going to be what? Double. Right? So if I had the value of x here, my hypotenuse is always going to double that. Okay? Does that make sense? And if you come down here and look, that's the relationship of that short leg to the hypotenuse. All right. So then we have the leg opposite of the 60. That one is actually that altitude that we drew in, and that is x times the square root of 3. We do the same thing we did for our 45, 45, 90. You are always going to start by writing down your table. Okay? You'll have your leg opposite the 30, you'll have your other leg opposite the 60, and then you have your hypotenuse. Again, you'll write down x square root of 3, and 2x. Okay. Let's look at example 1. Again, you're going to start with what they gave you, okay? They gave you the number 6. 6 is opposite of the 30 degrees. Okay? So that's going to go, so the 6 is going to go in your first column. So then your long leg would be what? No, 6 square root of 3. And then what would your hypotenuse be? 12. Okay. Same thing. Once we know what our x is, you're just subbing it in. You're just subbing it in. Let's look at our second one. So we have 4 times the square root of 3. Opposite, go to the opposite, that is the 60. So he's going to go in the second column. So we would do 4 times the square root of 3. Can we see what x is? Yeah, we can. What's your x? 4. So go back to your short leg, your little 30, and do your 4 there, which would make hypotenuse 8. Now, let's look at our third one. They gave us 8, so that side is again opposite of the 60. So he's going to go in the second column. Oh, sorry. How about 8? Okay, now, do you see a problem with this one?
Yes.
Yes. What are we going to have to do? We're going to have to solve for the x. So let's set it up. So I have 8 is equal to, what's the ratio for this one? X times the square root of 3. Okay. We're going to do the exact same thing. Okay. So what are we going to do first? Divide by the square root of 3. And then we're going to multiply by the square root of 3. Now, what's our new numerator? 8 times the square root of 3 over 3. Right? So that's our x. So let's put him in. Okay. Now, what's our hypotenuse? 16 square root of 3 over 3. Okay, let's do 4, 6, and 8. Again, I want you to ignore the x and y's. You're just going to do your table again for each one of them. So you're going to have x, x square root of 3, and 2x for each of them. Okay, let's take a look. Your papers looked really, really good. Let's go ahead and finish this up. All right, let's see. On number 4, we have the 5. The 5 is opposite of the 30-degree angle. So that goes in our first column. Therefore, your 60 would be 5 square root of 3. And what's your hypotenuse? 10. Thank you. Okay, let's go over to 6. The 32 is the what? What's your 32? Hypotenuse. So he goes in the third column. Oops. Okay. So if the hypotenuse is 32, what's your little leg?
16.
Right? It's always going to be the half, right? So what does that make your long leg? Very good. Okay, let's look at our last one. The 20 is opposite the 60, so he goes in the second column. Okay. Do not add the square root of 3 to that, okay? That is not what you have. All you have is the 20. So that means you're going to have to go and solve it. So I'm going to pop up here. So we're going to have 20 equal to x times the square root of 3. All right, what are we going to do first? Find. And then we're going to multiply. Okay, so now what do we have in the numerator? 20. Thank you. 20 times the square root of 3 over 3. Okay, so that is going to be your x. Remember, we kind of get lost there. That's our x, so let's put that in. And what does that make the hypotenuse then? 40. We're going to double it. 40 square root of 3 over 3. Okay.